As you can see today, we are joined by a special guest. We will be discussing some brand and marketing consistency ideas, topics and tips. And we'll also be talking about how you can do big brand marketing on a small business budget. So I'd like to introduce Sarah. Sarah is also known as the Business Fixer. She is a very talented, very heart-led business coach. She's my business coach. And Sarah has a Business Fixer toolkit, which is rammed full of amazing tips. And one of the topics that she covers in there is around marketing. So we thought, since we are both talking about marketing, that we would do a joint live stream today. So welcome, Sarah.
Hello.
Amazing to see you. And we will be looking at each other because we are actually sitting next to each other. So
yes, we are sitting next to each other. So now you guys should already know Kat already from CKG Marketing. She is an amazing marketing coach, and I have absolutely loved working with her. Probably, I think it's well over a year, maybe even close to 18 months. And to see her flourish and to see, her showing up for you guys and what she does is absolutely amazing. She is the go-to person when it comes to marketing. So you need to make sure that you are checking her out. Make sure you go onto her website, ckgmarketing.co.uk. Because ultimately she is your go-to expert. So, whilst I cover marketing in terms of my business coaching business, a lot of what I do is foundational, whereas this lady goes deep and she literally blows my mind at times. So this week she's been with me, and she actually came with me to one of my clients. And we were trying to go deeper on my client's ideal client, and my mind just literally went poof. So she is the one that is the expert, but she's also will talk to you in jargon-free language. One of the things that has frustrated me over the years in being in business, so many marketing experts, they just constantly they use the language that's marketing language. And one of the things that Kat is amazing at is she just makes it simple, but she's direct with no fluff, but she will tell you how it is, but in a way that you can understand and that you can then ultimately implement in your business. So let's get cracking, shall we?
We're going to do interview style. So Sarah's going to ask me a few questions and then we'll swap. So over to you, Sarah.
Excellent. So this is really, really exciting. Okay, so the simple thing that I'm going to ask Kat is, what does brand consistency actually mean in simple terms?
And that's the best question. Is let's start at the beginning. Brand consistency or marketing consistency is really just making sure that both visually and verbally you are showing up consistently, showing up in the same way. So all of your core messages and key messages are in line with what it is that you do in your business and how it is that you do what you do, and that it aligns with your business's identity. Okay, and making sure that those messages are all aligned, and visually as well, making sure that the elements that you use, or the resources and the assets, also known as assets, icons, images, photos, graphics, all of those types of things, all look and feel the same, or very similar at least. And that, there's a theme that runs through both visually and verbally that complement each other. So I'm sure that people have heard of colors having meanings, fonts having meanings, images that convey a certain emotion or a certain symbolism. All of those things really matter to your audience. So that is really what brand and marketing consistency is.
Okay, so we actually already have a question from Mangle. It says, which technologies or frameworks are you currently using, and you open to new solutions? We are going to cover a bit more about that as we kind of get through to the next section. So Mangle, apologies if I cannot pronounce your name right. I am awful when it comes to name pronunciations, but we will get to that in due course, because that kind of ties into about the budgets and what sorts of things there. So hold on, keep watching, but we wanted to make sure that you knew we'd seen your question. Okay, so the next question is, why is it such a big deal for small businesses to have brand consistency?
Right, so I believe that it's actually it's a big deal for all businesses, but it's especially a big deal for smaller businesses because of the track record of your business. Most big brands have either got a heck of a lot of time behind them. They've been around for hundreds of years, let's say Coca-Cola, for example, and smaller businesses just don't have that kind of a track record yet, which means that they're less ingrained in people's memories and minds. So that's one element, and the other element is smaller businesses perhaps don't have the bigger budgets that some of the bigger brands have. So, let's take HSBC or Barclays, for example. They have big budgets. Not, they have a lot of money behind them, as well as a lot of time behind them. So it's even more important that smaller businesses get the consistency right, because consistency is what will actually help people who want to do business with you to remember you and keep you in their mind.
Fantastic. Okay. I hope you're getting some really great insights from Kat here. As I said, she is the go-to marketing expert. So let's move on to the next question is, and I think you kind of touched upon this a little bit in your first answer, but I think it's still important to address, is brand consistency just about logos and colors, or is there more to it? And what happens if business keeps changing how it looks and sounds?
Okay, so it is about visually how you come across, and it is about verbally how you come across. But that's not to say I'm definitely not saying never ever change, because businesses are like people. They adapt and grow and expand, and things do change, and you really do need to make sure that you keep up with those changes. So if the business changes and pivots and takes a different tactic, or goes into a different marketplace, that will impact the colors and the fonts and the key messages. So it's important to keep those growing and moving with the business. However, that's not to say that we just chuck a whole bunch of colors, fonts, and key messages in a pot, stir it up, and hope for the best. The important thing is that all those things verbally, visually align with your target audience. So as your target audience changes and adapts, so will your visual and verbal branding, and that is really, really important. And to keep that in context and in control of with your audience is the key to consistency.
Fantastic. Wow. As you can see, she really does know her stuff. So what is the one small change that small business owners can make this week to improve their brand consistency?
Okay, so we're streaming live on some social platforms here. We've got LinkedIn, we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube. I think the best thing you can do to start with is to have a look at your social platforms, have a look at the core messages on each of those platforms, and make sure that they are all aligned. They really should be saying pretty much the same core message, okay? And make sure that the visual branding is also consistent. Have you used the similar fonts, same fonts? Have you used similar and the same colors? Are they aligned? And if you are If you are already there and you've already aligned all of those things, then another thing to do is to have a look at your ideal target audience, your ideal client, and double check that those core messages that you are using on your social platforms and those colors and those fonts all align with your target audience's core beliefs and values.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, make sure you are checking those social media platforms. Make sure you are consistent across the board. So we are now moving on to a slightly different topic. So
we're moving on to the next topic. The next topic is all about marketing like a big brand on a small budget. And I'm going to be asking Sarah some questions. Sarah is really, really good at helping smaller businesses really stay on track of achieving the best results that they can, but on the allocated budgets for that business that they can afford. So let's go on to the first question. Where do business owners often waste money when it comes to marketing?
So this is a really interesting one, because I often have conversations with clients where they want to spend money on these massive campaigns. I had this recently where I had a conversation with somebody. They wanted to put these massive billboards on a main on a dual carriageway that is local to us, local to me in Essex. And I was like, absolute waste of money. You know, what they tend to do is they think by throwing big lumps of cash on these very random campaigns, that's what's going to actually draw in. Or what they do, and this is something that I see so frequently, is they go straight into paying for ads, whether it's Google ads, whether it's Facebook ads, before they've actually done the strategy behind the scenes. And the strategy is the fundamental. So, you know, in terms of, you've got to be consistent, but you've got to know what you're being consistent with. So Kat's touched upon it in terms of, you need to know who your ideal client is. You need to know who your core message is, and you've got to get those things right first. But also, before running ads, particularly over things like social media ads, like Meta ads, you need to have a solid, what we call an organic social media. So that is where you're putting posts for free. You're not paying for any advertising, so that you can build your brand. You are also building your credibility. You're building your expertise. So if you're going straight into ads on Meta, but you've got your business page has no content, again, you're likely to be getting poor quality leads, and if you get anything, and you end up spend a lot of money without any great results. So you don't need to spend lots of money when it comes to marketing. You know, there are so many avenues, and I can see we've got a few questions that have come through in terms of which organic marketing channels, SEO, social media, email, have the highest return on investment. That's a really good question, and does tie in here in terms of the budgeting side of things. They should be working hand in hand. That's the key.
Yes. It's a stacking effect. There's a layering effect.
100%. And the thing I would say, and I'm going to touch upon the email side. Now, if email is, when you're doing email marketing to a cold market, that is very much a low return on investment, because it takes a lot to nurture. You've got to have touch points. I think they say now it's about 27 touch points to be able to convert somebody. So email, you know, to me, email marketing is more about the nurturing process rather than starting with it as doing a cold marketing campaign. In terms of SEO, I would probably say, if I had to put them in an order, I would say SEO, social media, then email. Your SEO, your website, you need to make sure that your SEO, your website is not only highly optimized, but that optimization ties in again with that ideal client and marketing message. If you are not communicating to the right audience, and the content on that website is not resonating with your ideal client, doesn't matter how much you optimize it, you're still not going to actually get any return on investment. It all literally ties together. So I hope that helps you in terms of answering that question. But
wow, immense. Listen to this value, right? This is incredible. So next question. If someone only has a small budget, where should they focus first?
Okay, this is definitely an important one. Okay, once you've got your strategy bit, and we're talking tactics here, the first thing I would say, and this also ties in a little bit to what question we had in terms of tools, but the first thing I would say is start with your organic social media content. Make sure that you are you're welcome, Ethel, for that. Make sure that you have got the consistent social media content. Choose one or two social media platforms to start. So when you're going through your strategy piece, once you've got your ideal client and your messaging, one of the key things you need to be identifying is, where are they congregating? So if you, for example, the client that Kat came with me to this week, they're a planning consultancy, and they have two ideal clients, one which is self-builder and one which is independent developers. Now, when we were looking at what tactics to be using for them, Google Ads we knew would actually go to both of those. But for example, for the self-builders, they're more likely to be on the Facebook platform, whereas the independent developers are going to be more likely to be on LinkedIn. So you would then, you need to choose your platforms based on where your ideal client is congregating. Yeah. So make sure you've got that social media content. Start with your organic content. As Kat has been literally hammering it earlier, you need to be consistent with that. Start with that, but also make sure as part of that you have a website that you're putting things like blog content, because you need to be educating your clients and providing value is an important part of your sales funnel. Okay, and then you need to make sure that website is optimized, because often when you're on social media, you're going to be directing them to your website. So those two are the two things that I would say go hand in hand, and I will touch upon the tools in due course, I promise.
Yes, and if I may, I'll take this question about from Mangal again. How does one execute a tactful cold outreach campaign via email or LinkedIn that circumvents the risk of perceived intrusion or spam classification? This is a really, really good question. The straight answer, Mangal, is I don't recommend you do cold tactics. Okay. The way that you nurture your cold audience is very much around the organic messaging and the organic tactics and campaigns that Sarah was talking about. So make sure that you are educating and adding value in your channels, like your SEO on your blogs, making sure that you're educating and on your social platforms. Make sure that you're adding value in emails. Make those outreaches about them, not about you.
100%.
If you make your messaging and your content about them, they cannot possibly perceive intrusion or spam. Okay? And the way that you do that is by knowing your ideal client and your target audience. And I say, know them as well as you know your mom, your brother, your dad, your best friend, your wife, your husband. Know them so well that you can have an amazing conversation with them. Yeah. That is the secret to not being perceived as spam and
100%. And I think actually to add on that, so this kind of ties in a little bit with the tool side. So we have started using a tool called Meet Alfred. Now this is specifically more for LinkedIn. So if your ideal client, as I said, it's all about where is your ideal client congregating. So if they are congregating in LinkedIn, yeah. Meet Alfred is a fantastic tool, because it's a tool that means that you can specifically connect with your ideal client. You can put a search in, you can connect, and you can start having a couple. You don't want to have long messages, and you don't want to be sending them a message every day. It needs to be spread out. but it's again being about being of service. I often will talk about being of service. So it's things like when you're connecting is, often I will start off with along the lines of, thanks for connecting. It's nice to actually have, it's nice to actually virtually have a conversation with somebody. I can't remember the exact wording off the top of my head, but in essence, we're kind of just saying it's actually nice to kind of have a conversation rather than just connect and that be it. But also, then it's also about, and this is a friend of mine who runs a marketing agency. She gave me this amazing tip that both Kat and I use in ours. And that is there anyone within my network you would like to be introduced to? Can you start to see that these are things that it's making it about them, exactly what Kat is saying? You can, once you've got a conversation going, you might want to consider offering them something that's of value that you think they'll benefit from. I've got a terms and conditions template. I'm a former lawyer. It would cost you over £1,000 to be able to go to a lawyer to get this document drafted. I give it away for free, for example, right? Yeah. So that's where I'm offering that. But it is about relationships. Ultimately, when it comes to marketing, and this is where the big brands make the difference, it is about the fact that they are they prioritize relationships over reach. While big brands they do chase it, but you have the advantage as a small business that they don't, of proximity. You can build real relationships and you can respond personally and you can connect directly with clients and prospects in a way that feels human and genuine, which the big brands just can't do.
Correct. Absolutely. I'm going to come back to your next question, Mangal, in just a moment after I've asked this final question. This is all gold, by the way. I hope everybody's getting this benefit and taking some notes here, because this is stuff that will really turn the dial. It will amp up your business. It will really get you to the next level if you follow these very simple guidance. So the last question is, what are some things big brands do that small businesses can copy without spending loads of money?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. This is a biggie. Okay. So the key thing is it's about starting with clarity. It's not about the cash, right? So we've touched upon this a little bit, but I think I just kind of want to make sure that this is really clear. Is you need to know who you're trying to reach. What do they care about? How do you help them? And what do you want them to do next? Get those things, being clear on that. That is a fundamental. Now, we've talked a lot about consistency here, okay? Is you need to be posting content regularly. It's not a case of when you post and when you remember. You need to be consistent, and actually sometimes it's easier on a smaller, I think, as a smaller business to be consistent. You don't need to put, I've heard recently there are some gurus that say 6 posts a day.
Oh no,
you don't need to do that.
I'm sweating, I'm having heart palpitations, just the thought of it.
Yeah, we don't do that level. 1 post. Just start with 1 post, even if it's Monday to Friday. I know Kat, she's great. She does stuff at the weekend. But Monday to Friday, at least if you're just doing that, fantastic.
It's about quality, not quantity.
And this is where make value your biggest asset, right? Big brands don't market by shouting louder. They focus on being useful. They solve problems, they educate their audience, and they position themselves as a trusted authority. For small businesses, you can do exactly the same thing, okay? And like I said earlier, stay focused instead of being everywhere. That will really, really make a difference. And also, use smart tools, not the expensive ones. So I think this is where I'd like to, if it's okay, give you, I know that Mangal, you've asked a lot in terms of about tools. And thank you, Emma. Really appreciate the feedback.
Hi, Emma. Thank you for watching, babe.
So nice to virtually meet you, Emma. So when it comes to tools, there are a number of tools that I use. We sometimes have. This is quite an interesting one for us because we often have a conflict when it comes to tools. There are certain tools I love that Kat doesn't like. So you've got to find, it's horses for courses to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
So you've got to find what works for you. So for example, I use a piece of software called ClickFunnels. I'm a massive fan of it. For what I do, I have everything in it, and I like that. Kat doesn't like having everything in one place, whereas I love it. So in that, I've got my website, I've got my funnels, I've got my CRM, I've got my email marketing, I've got my online course. It's all in this wonderful, lovely place, but I do use other tools. So we both use Canva for our artwork. You don't even necessarily have to have the pro version. You can have the free version. Meet Alfred, as I've already mentioned, in terms of an automation tool for LinkedIn, is absolutely fantastic. Kat, I know, is moving over to Go High Level, which is the competition of ClickFunnels. It does very, very similar things. But if you are starting on a budget, email marketing tool that I tend to encourage my clients to head towards is MailerLite, because you can have, I think, up to about 1,000 contacts in there for free.
There's another one that I use is ConvertKit, or now it's called Kit. That is, again, you get quite a lot of free data included in that, and it does all of the things that MailerLite does, and so they're very, very similar entry level for email.
And I think the other one that we both use is Socialmonials. So that is your social media content scheduler. So you can bulk create, which is what Kat does. I tend to do mine daily. We have, again, a very different routine, but we both use the same tool. We create the content. We tell it when it's going to go out. It's connected to our social media platforms. That's a really, really useful tool. So whilst I appreciate we probably haven't covered so much in terms of conversion as such.
I will in the next question.
But I think, I think that's what Kat's going to sort of touch upon. But hopefully that gives you some really useful tools.
Absolutely amazing. Like, how much value are you getting? Like, this is like from our toolbox. This is like we've literally just opened up like all of our tools and given them over to you guys. The thing that I like about Socialmonials, just on that one thing, is that it's a one price tool, one price lifetime access, which, it's pretty much amazing. So I want to just touch on this very last question from Mangal about which methodologies ensure optimal social media outreach and lead generation in absence of paid promotional activities, and are there any particular strategies that can be used to repurpose and amplify existing content, ensuring maximum engagement without necessitating additional expenditure? This is what I wanted to talk about in terms of the conversion question. The conversion question, the answer to the conversion question is conversations. Okay, the more conversations you have, the more conversions you'll get. The more good quality, really excellent conversations you have, the more conversions, more high ticket conversions you will have. Okay, so it just depends. Do you want to have lots of tiny transactions and you can have some very average conversations? You just need to make sure you're having a lot of them. Or do you want to have some amazing, meaningful conversations and get some really high ticket conversions? Okay, you need to decide. The thing that you need to focus on to get those high quality conversations is your messaging. And the way that you focus on getting high quality messaging that aligns 100% with your ideal client is spending a lot of time getting to know your ideal client and your ideal target audience. Go deep as you possibly, deeper than you've ever been before. Okay, just really go deep. All right, I'm hearing the Go Deeper Underground of song in my mind. When we were sitting in the office and your client started playing it, I was absolutely on the floor. It was hilarious.
My head was exploding at this point because I just couldn't get my head around this particular concept, and they were literally teasing me because I was struggling so much, and that's when he started playing this song.
Let's Go Deeper Underground. Anyway, so I just got that going around in my head, but it's really about answering some key questions for your clients, making sure they understand why you, why them, why this, the product, whatever you're selling, why now, and why no one else. If you can answer those 5 key questions with your core message, you are already in a higher tier
Yes.
to pretty much most businesses out there. So don't make it complicated. The methodologies and the process and the systems, don't make it complicated. Keep it really, really simple. Start there.
And can I add a little bit to that? Because I
Absolutely.
think this is one of the fundamentals that I often will see is going back to the bare basic thing of what is the problem that you are solving for your ideal client, and making sure that whatever solution that you are providing is actually solving that, and kind of and answering those core questions that Kat has just literally gone through for you. You know, you need to make sure that you are literally, your solution is solving that fundamental problem. And if you are making sure that your messaging, your content, your nurturing processes are, you know, addressing those key questions, when you actually finally get them on the phone to have a conversation, you will be 80% of the way of getting that person over the line.
Yeah.
But do think in terms of when you're looking at that problem that you're solving and the solution that you're giving to that problem. You know, Kat mentioned about low ticket and high ticket. What is it that they actually are looking for? Do they want a high-end solution? Yeah. Or do they want a low-end solution? And it all depends on the problems that you are ultimately solving as to which end you're going to be.
Absolutely. Okay.
Wow.
This is insane. I've blown my own brains out. We've gone through quite a lot in this session. It's been amazing. Do you want to just kind of give your final thoughts?
How do I do that?
We've covered so much.
We've covered way more that I think than either of us were actually anticipating in this. And this is why I love doing these types of lives, because I really feel like you guys can get so much, because you're getting so much from both of our minds. And you know, it's really exciting. So I love doing this sort of stuff. So, wow. Okay. Well, what a testimonial that's come through in terms of from Mangal on your wow. I sincerely appreciate your invaluable insights and expertise. Your guidance has been truly enlightening. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
You're very welcome. Anytime. This is what, you know.
Well, clearly it's only your knowledge. No, I'm joking. He's only grateful for your knowledge. No, I'm teasing. I am teasing.
Well, Mangal, you're going to have to do one for her. Go on.
Right. Some final thoughts. Okay. I think the fundamental thing is, in terms of brand being consistent across the board. You know, in terms of everything is key in terms of your business. You know, even outside of the marketing, just be consistent is an absolute fundamental message. You need to make sure you are 100% clear on who your ideal client is, making sure that message is crystal clear and it resonates with your ideal client, that you know exactly where that ideal client is congregating, and that's where you are putting your organic social media content is going on those specific platforms, and the content that you are putting out there is you know, a part of it, not all of it, but a big part of it is education and value, and showing that you are the expert that can solve the problem that they have, and that you have that solution, right? And there is a big difference in terms of, you know, the businesses that grow and those that stay stuck. I tell you, it's never about the budget. It is about the clarity in your messaging. It's the consistency, and it's the courage to show up with a plan and stick with it. Yeah. If you've been spinning your wheels with marketing that never seems to pay off, well, now it's time to change that approach.
Absolutely. I echo all of those things. Just my final thoughts are that there's no real silver bullet when it comes to marketing and business. Okay, we need to pay attention to the fundamental things that are going to move the dial for your business, and the proper place to start for that is who you are talking to. Okay, there is no getting around that, unfortunately. You need to just start at the beginning, and let's make that the thing that we focus on. It's not a once and done thing either. We are speaking to people, and people are constantly growing and evolving in this incredible world that is changing and adapting literally every second of the day. We are speaking to humans, and we are speaking to their conscious and subconscious minds, which are being bombarded with a million messages every single day. We just need to make sure that we've got the message that's going to actually align with them. Okay. So if any of this has been of interest and you found any of this valuable and you have further questions and you want to understand how you can apply all of these ideas and concepts to your business, please check, hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you want to have a call. I will happily get in touch and we can book that in. Always available for insight sessions, free insight sessions. They are 45-minute calls with me, and I help understand where you are, what your goals are, and how to get you there. So do take me up on that. And if you want an introduction to Sarah, you just let me know and I will definitely set that up for you. She's an amazing coach that really sometimes cares about me and my business even more than I do, okay? Which is saying something, right? And she really has had my back since we started working together, and I've really seen a massive uplift in my business. So if you want a coach that gets results, let me know. I'll get you in touch with her, and you guys can talk. So
fantastic. Well, thank you, Kat. It's been amazing as always. Thank you very much for hosting this. And well, you'll see her again next week. And
yes.
And look out for when I go live also once a week. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye.